YouTube, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. We are here for today's episode at the Bettors Edge. We are coming off the back of an absolutely easy victory last night with Monmouth. We talked to you guys about it on the show yesterday. The key to that game was the turnover battle. 15 turnovers for Campbell in the first half, and a total of over 20 turnovers in the game was the deciding factor, just as I predicted here on this show yesterday. Moving into today's show, guys, we have an absolute huge game in St. Louis, Missouri. We're going to the Big 12, the first round of the Big 12 tournament. Finally, we have the Power 5 conferences kicking off their conference tournaments. And we are getting started with BYU as 10.5 favorites against Kansas State. We've seen these two teams play earlier this season. We saw them on January 3rd in Kansas State, BYU winning that game 83-73. In that matchup, Kansas State, first and foremost, was at their absolute worst part of their season. They were in the dumps in early January. Their former head coach, I should say, at that time, was giving it to his players. There was meltdown in the locker room, the turmoil between staff and players. It was evident that there were issues, not only on the court, but off the court with this KSU program at that time. With that said, since then, we've seen Kansas State change coaches. The performances have improved. We saw them lose by 9 points the other day at Kansas, putting up 95 points on an elite Kansas defensive unit. The other part of this story for today is BYU. We saw this BYU team at one point in time, obviously led by freshman phenom DeBonsa, potentially going to be the number one overall pick in the next NBA draft. This was a top 10 team in the country. Richie Saunders went down earlier this season, their leading guard. Since then, this team really hasn't been able to overcome that injury. When I'm looking at this game, and you looked at how these two teams have fared this entire season, kind of how they're trending, I don't want to say in opposite directions, because BYU is still the far better team. However, when I'm looking at this game, we have to take into consideration the actual number here, and we're looking at 10.5 points. I don't see on a neutral floor how BYU should be laying this type of number, especially without Richie Saunders. So with all of that said, when I look at how that first matchup went, I saw a Kansas State team, as I mentioned, in the absolute dumps that shot 3 for 21 from the three-point line. They were able to shoot 42% on all of their field goal attempts as a team in that game, despite going 3 for 21 from three. And they still lost that game 83-73 by only 10 points. I can't justify BYU laying 10.5 points in this type of spot. I know KSU, for the most part, has been an absolute abomination this entire season, but credit to their new coach, credit to that program. They found a way to kind of tough it out, to kind of stick together. They're playing some decent basketball lately. They beat WVU a couple of games ago by 2 points at home. Nothing to write home about, but this is a team that hasn't called it quits, that's still putting in tough performances. They're still showing up night in and night out and putting in their best effort. And that's all that you can ask for a team that's in this type of situation that Kansas State is in. I look at DeBonsa, I look at BYU. They're going to have the edge on the glass. They're going to have the edge offensively. They're going to have the edge defensively. But in the first round of this conference tournament, as I keep saying, missing some key players like Richie Saunders, I don't see BYU winning this game going away. I think this is going to be a tougher game than most people anticipate. I think the final score is going to replicate that. I think BYU ends up winning this game by anywhere between 4 and 7 points, but I don't think they come even close to winning this game by double digits. Give me Kansas State in a neutral site venue in the first round of the Big 12 tournament as the best edge for today on the entire card. 15-star play, Kansas State plus 10.5. This game is going to be much closer than the experts predict. As always, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks, as always, for watching the videos, and I'll be back tomorrow for more winners for you guys.